It's round 4 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. It's the Ashley Forest stages as Canterbury celebrates 40 years of rally. To win here, you have to be tough. Your car has to be tough. Just like it was 40 years ago. Tighten your belts, brace yourselves, Canterbury. Rally is back in town. This is Rally Nation. It's been 6 weeks since round 3, the Daybreaker Rally. With Hayden Paddon away in Europe, Richard Mason had dominated there, and at the final power stage, he had a 1-minute 48-second lead. But just when the former champ could taste victory, a broken selector in his new gearbox sidelined him. Ben Hunt had been battling with Chris West for second place, despite a faulty throttle sensor. He had a 15-second lead on West, so when he passed Mason stuck on the side of the road, he knew that his first rally win was on the cards.
At the start of the year when we bought in this car, I never thought that would be even on the podiums in some of the rallies, but to come away with a win, and yeah, it's amazing credit to the team and to just everyone that's played a part in getting me into the car.
So that win moves Ben Hunt up to second with 68 points. Paddon still leads after his early performance, while Mason drops to third on 62 points. But remember that only the best 5 rounds for each driver will count for the final championship. The Canterbury Rally would be based north of Christchurch in the town of Rangiora. But for the Saturday start, the Palm Shopping Mall was Rally Central. A chance to showcase the drivers and cars in front of the fans. And of course the important road position selection for the top 5 drivers on the previous Rally Power Stage. Chris West going for start order 3.
It's very important, for us it's we've used our joker, so it's game on now, and we're looking for results.
Ben Hunt next, and he went for position 2.
We were hoping that if it is raining a bit, being 1 or 2 on the road, it's probably going to help out a bit because your second pass through's not going to be as slippery. Well, you'll get through before all the other guys, so yeah, I don't know, it's pretty hard to decide. The difference between 2 and 4 is probably not a huge deal.
While Matt Summerfield chose start order 5, the other local, Matt Jansen, would start at number 4.
Been such a long time since we've had a national round here in Canterbury, and to be back in the forest on the notes is just fantastic.
Well, you've probably got the best knowledge of the top 5 of this forest.
Well, I guess so. I mean, it's been a while since we've done this rally, or finished it at least, I should say. But yeah, we know a little bit of local knowledge, and especially to do with the weather conditions. Like, the forest is just so changing, which everyone would have seen today on Recce.
Chris West led the cars over the start ramp for an overnight break before the day starts at Rangiora. Hometown's a defending Canterbury winner, Matt Summerfield.
Last year was a really good year for us. We didn't have really any other dramas. So yeah, to have that on my back for this year is really good.
If Emma Gilmore can iron out her new car, Niggles, a good result is on the cards.
There's definitely the hope, I suppose. I mean, realistically, it's just about getting more mileage in the car, and we've done some more testing since the last event at Daybreaker, and the car's feeling fantastic. Like, I'm actually feeling a lot more comfortable in it, so I love forestry, so yeah, I'm looking forward to today.
Do you think your car's got an advantage in those tight forests?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of rough sections in there, and definitely with my suspension travel, I'm definitely more happier going in there in this car than I was, say, for last year in my Subaru, just for the fact that it has got the travel and it's got the underbody protection. So, touch wood, it should all go according to plan.
For Richard Mason, there is a chance to take the championship lead with a good result here.
It's been a while since we've been 6th on the road, and that's based off the power stage results at Daybreaker. Because we didn't finish that stage, we didn't get to choose the first 5 places, so we get to be the next one after those guys, which is 6th. For us, it means a little bit of a different approach. We're used to having a lot of gravel on the road. On a sunny day, on a rainy day, it's probably a little bit better if you're close to the front of the field. So we'll be watching out for any muddy spots and trying to make the most of anywhere that it might be swept.
Alex Kelsey will lead the cars away, and he wasn't bothered by the prospect of running 1 on the road.
the more rain the better. It's the more muddier it'll be, and you know we're first cutting through it, so it's only going to get worse after we go through.
As Kelsey heads out to the forest, let's check out our BNT stage preview.
Hi, I'm Richard Mason, and it's great to be back in Canterbury for the Stadium Cars Vins Rally. We start the day with Stage 1, Magnum Compliance, a 20k forestry stage starting a short distance from the famous Ashley Forest Rally Sprint stage.
Starting at Ashley Forest headquarters, a nice flying road to begin with. A little way into the stage, we turn a hard right and the road becomes slippery with off-camber corners and a couple of water crossings that could get deep if it rains.
Stage 2, Palmside, New Zealand, is the longest at 26.7 k's.
Starting on narrow roads with quite a bit of grass and pine needles, opening up onto a more flowing gravel road for 10 k's and then finishing on Mount Grey Road.
Alex Kelsey is no stranger to starting first on the road. In fact, he seems to enjoy the role as pace setter. This is the deep river crossing in the stage.
And these fords are spectacular, but it's hard on the cars. Everything's very hot, and the cold water can be hard on the metalwork and components.
Well, Ben Hunt, winner of round 3. Now, how's this Group N car going to go on these forest roads, Glenn?
The Group N car will be reliable. We know that because we've run them in the National Championship for many years. We're not going to have problems with breaking gearboxes and that sort of stuff. But ultimately won't have the same sort of power as the more developed cars, and the forest being like it is made for logging trucks, you're not going to get the tight technical bits of stage.
Right, he's just coming down to the ford. It hits it fairly hard. How much damage could you do if you go through it wrong?
Well, one thing that can happen is fogging of windscreens, which makes it hard to see, and that's what you can see here.
Kelsey set the target with 14 minutes 39, and well, it looks like Ben will easily be faster. 14:06.6, 32 seconds faster. Chris West chose to start position 3 for this rally, and off he goes. So Glenn, has he made the right call?
I think position 3 is a bit of an each-way bet. He's going to benefit from some road sweeping if the conditions allow, yet he won't get caught on a cut-up road if it does cut up later in the day.
Okay, so West approaching the finish. And here he comes. The clock will stop at 13 minutes 58.9, fastest so far. Matt Jansen through the water crossing. All okay, but Glenn, looks like the road is starting to get a bit muddy there.
Yeah, Matt was cautious at the water crossing, understandable, and the road is getting a little bit cut up with the passage of cars.
Looks like Matt has clear vision though, so his demister is obviously working well. And stage time then? Well, not great. 14 minutes 35. He's lost 40 seconds. Matt Summerfield taking it easy on the approach to the water here. Looks like he's really slowing it down. Maybe a sign of experience. He still managed 14 minutes 27.8. And lots of experience here. Richard Mason may not have done this rally, but he knows all the tricks in rallying.
Yeah, it is the first time he started this far down the road order though for a long time. And as we can see, quite a slow approach to the ford here, but Richard is going to be certainly the pace setter in this rally, so there's no sense in taking silly risks and having something go wrong with the car.
Well, he looks fairly comfortable in the car, even in these slippery conditions there, Glenn.
Richard's been around a long time. He's done a lot of rallies in a lot of different conditions. And the time's still looking very good in the stage.
Yeah, it is looking good. It's 13:54.7. That's 5.1 seconds faster than West. And this is just the third rally start for the Suzuki Swift Maxi of Emma Gilmore, and it's pretty impressive, Glenn.
Yeah, I really like this car. It looks like it's got plenty of power. It always looks so good on the camera, and I'm sure if you're out there live watching it on the stages, it must sound fantastic.
And she goes into the water fairly hard. Oh, look at the steam coming out of there.
Yeah, it's taken on quite a lot of water.
Tightens, short 5 left tightens, into 5 right, 6 left.
As we see there, she's just making a note change. That's because they'll do this stage as a repeat, and they're always trying to improve these pace notes.
Right, well, busy to the end of the stage in 14 minutes 14. That's pretty good. On to stage 2, Palmside, and the longest of the day, 26.68 kilometres. Conditions are getting worse, and there are more water crossings to contend with. Kelsey first through this, and it looks fairly rugged there, Glenn.
Yeah, but this car is made for these conditions.
First stage was absolutely terrible. I went through the ford and the water just come through the gearbox hole here and just covered the windscreen in fog, and then it went on to 3 cylinders. So I managed to get through there, that was okay after all that, and then this one I've had fog all over the windscreen for the whole stage.
Ben Hunt next, and he doesn't seem to be losing much time despite the Group N car having less power.
This car does have less power, but being Group N, it's also equipped with a full standard heater, which works very well. The other cars, they're trying to save weight where they can, often ending up with tiny little heaters, and in the worst conditions, they're not working as well as they should.
Okay, and we're coming down at Ben's time. 16 minutes, 08.5.
Ben, what's things like in there?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good, like the main arterial roads, and they're a grouse, but there's a few places that are real slippery and it might catch a few guys out. It nearly caught us out, so we had quite a good little moment in the finish of that stage there. We changed the note in recce and we changed it up one, and it was we've changed it back now, put it that way.
Chris West was second after stage 1, number 3 on the road, so was that helping him, Glenn?
Road position plays a critical part in rallying. It depends on whether there's loose gravel around and you're going to benefit from that sweeping off, or if the mud's coming through and it's an advantage to be further up. Often it's only when you get to the end of the stage and you see the time, and you can judge whether it's been a good decision or a bad decision.
Well, the time's 16:12.4, slower than Hunt, but he holds second.
The car felt really good up into the Ford, and then the old tables turned, so difficult from there on in. The windows fogged up, so I managed to clear it before the start of that stage, but it was the second stage, but unfortunately it was back before we even taken off, so we had something to attend to there at service, but no, other than that we were fine.
Matt Jansen had reported overheating brakes at the start of the stage, and he would finish 40 seconds slower than West.
Overheating brakes on these cars is not that common, so they've got something to find. It might be in the car, or it may be a bit of Matt's style. He may need to adjust his left foot braking.
That stage wasn't too bad. The first one was extremely slippery, so and with not much tour in between, we cooked the brakes in the first one, so the first half of that stage we had no brakes there, but it's just me driving like a girl a bit, to be honest.
Well, Matt Summerfield stopped in the stage, so that dashed his hopes of defending his rally win. So now Richard Mason running 5th on the road, and Mason really pushing hard here, Glenn.
And that was some good air time. You don't often see the cars in the air for that long on New Zealand roads.
And the rain is still very light, and the roads are still holding together well. Oh, there's Matt Summerfield right on the left there.
Summerfield changing a puncher. We're on board with the husband and wife duo, looking right at home in their office.
And Mason's stage time, 15:55.4, fastest again.
Richard, we understand you won the first stage, possibly won this one. How's it going in there?
Yeah, look, it was interesting on that first stage. It was slippery as I thought, and you know, it looked to me like the road was getting worse as it went on, looking from the stage times there. So, you know, we're very happy to come away with a stage win on that one. This stage here, very comfortable in there, so hopefully a good time.
7 or 8.
Despite losing time after the water crossing in 1, good pace from Emma Gilmore and her Swift Sport Maxi, Glenn.
It has been fast this morning, and Emma's been doing good times. Here we've got a warning light on, and it's alerted her to what's on the dash. It's not looking too good.
I'll just park it.
They've said park it. This is disappointing for Emma. Looks like the development continues with this car.
Yeah, I understand.
By stage 2, Canterbury driver Richard Baddock was up to 5th, and he really was shining on these forest stages in just his first season of the championship. Many more years' experience for Brian Green, though, and he was 7th behind Alex Kelsey.
That was quite a hard hit. It looks like there's a lot more water since reconnaissance.
Graham Featherston leads Class 5 on points, but struggles here with gearbox issues and is down to 8th. Rhys Gardner has proved himself on the fast public road stages, but finding the going hard in the forest in 9th, but only 1 second down. Rookie Clinton Cunningham also struggling in the forest stages, just 18th on stage 1 and 2. Gary Cleff had left his classic car at home and entered his Class 5 Mitsubishi. He started rallying 40 years ago when he entered the first ever Canterbury Rally.
I had a friend of mine, Arthur Marcus, and we were doing fast trials at night, legal fairly fast on shingle. Decided that we'd have a go at this rally that was coming up as the year earlier. The the Silver Fern had gone through here, so we thought, we'll have a go at that. So we hunted around and bought a Mini and put a roll cage in it, and yeah, we went.
That car was a Mini 7.
I remember going through the forest and coming down a really steep, twisty hill with my foot absolutely flat on the throttle and the handbrake going backwards and forwards until it actually came right up here and there was no room to, no more handbrake left to get it into the corner. So yeah, it was a pretty cool little car, but it was an actual Mini 7, English Mini 7, which were running in those days, and someone had imported it into New Zealand, so we found that it had bigger brakes and a few bits and pieces on it. But yeah, 1000cc, pretty hard work.
Since then, there have been many cars, Datsuns, Fords, Subaru and Mitsubishi.
Oh, favourite car would have to probably be, I have two probably, my 160J, which I've had for 12 years now, which I love, and A86 that I ran in 1989, I won all the championship rounds and beat the odd person like Neil Allport occasionally on the odd stage. We probably wouldn't deny that, but I have them over the times.
These days, Gary spends his time buying and selling exotic cars. Like this Auburn Boattail Speedster from the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So as we head to the first service, it's Mason with a 22.1 second lead over West, Hunt 3.1 seconds back. It's a peaceful setting in the service park, but plenty of work for the crews after 2 hard stages.
The most part, they're just checking over for any damage. We've found a couple of things. We'd damaged the front bumper, probably on a jump or a big hole or something like that. So do a bit of a repair for that so that it hangs together. You know, the rest of the car's looking pretty good and we're going to go back out on the same tyres again.
You were among several drivers reporting fogging windows and water getting in. You've got a fix for that?
Yeah, make the co-driver wipe the window through the stage. But yeah, it wasn't too bad in that last stage. I think it was just that first stage had 3 water crossings and that didn't help, so we might just have to be prepared to bend my neck down a bit to see.
How do you feel about your road position?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I don't mind not having any lines to see, so you can kind of drive to how you want to take the approach to the corner. But yeah, these next 2 stages will be pretty grouse and hopefully my gearbox survives.
Have you got some issues there?
Yeah, it's jumping out of 5th gear when you come off the load, so we might just have to hold it in there or something, but it's a bit of a pain in the arse, but these things happen, so we'll deal with it.
Alex Kelsey at service and hoping that he can make his car waterproof for the next stages.
Yeah, the engine wasn't running on 3 cylinders in stage 2, so that was great, but it's really hard to see with a hole that big. As soon as you go a little bit sideways, you can't see nothing, so tricky to drive like that.
After the break, Canterbury rebuilds while we head back to the forest. Welcome back to Rally Nation. Before we return to the action, it's been a huge effort for the Autosport Club to bring championship rallying back to Canterbury after the tough 3 years that the province has lived through. But there is a new energy in Christchurch as the demolition is being replaced with construction and the city starts to take on a new shape. And with that, the return of sporting events to the region.
Christchurch has been through a lot, like you say, and the people that are here, they've bounced through it and they're still going, you know. We're still battling through and we just want to get, you know, as much publicity as we can in Christchurch to help us get back on our feet.
Oh, I think it's a huge boost. I mean, you know, the guys that are at the coalface doing all the, you know, the work and organising it, I mean, a rap that we've got a national round and I know they want to put on a good show so we can do it again next year. It is a big boost. I mean, you know, Christchurch just missed out on some big sporting events because of the events. So, you know, rallying's nothing like rugby or whatever, but yeah, it's great that we've got a national round here.
Back to the forest now for 2 short stages.
Stage 3 Rubber Developments is a short 7k sprint as the rally heads into the Okuku block area. A great little forestry stage with plenty of room to move the car around, starting at the top of a hill and running downhill for the whole stage. It has a little bit of grass track at the finish, so it could get interesting. Staying in the Okuku block, stage 4, Straight and Paint, is another short stage, only 10.5 k's. A really wide road that climbs steeply from the start for most of the stage. It has some really fast sections and a couple of tricky corners to catch out the unwary.
Well, the rain has stopped and the road's looking in good condition, so a chance for Alex Kelsey to make back some time. He sets the pace at 5 minutes 17.4. A short stage, so there won't be a lot between the times. It does look like the gravel will sweep off though, and hunt through in 5:12.1. These are the conditions which will suit West at 3 on the road, and his time 5 minutes 10.9, so getting faster as the stage cleans off. Matt Jansen making a serious effort at sweeping the road, but fourth fastest so far.
We're actually quite high up in an area that's not known for mountainous terrain. It's causing a little bit of fogging with Matt. His time there, 5:25.2. Not too bad for a year that started a bit late for rallying.
So, what can Richard Mason produce here? He's going for it, Glenn.
Richard's gone out on second-hand tyres with this group of stages. It's not holding him back. The road looks in pretty good condition. It's quite hard-packed. Lots of logging trucks pack the road down.
And Richard would post his fourth stage win here, 7.4 faster than West. In the New Zealand 2 class, more of the close battles we've come to expect between the 3 Ford Fiestas. Phil Campbell was first on the road in this group. Josh Marsden had led Campbell on stage 2 and 3 after being slowed in 1 with a faulty intercom, but the gap was only a second. Dave Holder had a great start and actually led the class on stage 1 before dropping back to 3rd, but just 1 second behind the R2 Fiestas.
David's doing a great job, and what is the older model Fiesta shouldn't be as fast as the newer cars with sequential gearboxes and later technology. This class has produced Ben Hunt, before him Stephen Barker, and they've both gone on to bigger and better things, so maybe David's going to be the next find.
Another sprint stage before the second service, this time in an area which was being logged, so the road conditions would be different again. Alex Kelsey setting the pace with 6 minutes 55.9.
He's looking really good through here. The car is well set up and is riding the bumps fantastic.
And look at the rocks on the side of the road there. That's a puncture for a careless driver.
Sharp rocks are typical in forestry stages.
And the stage time of 6 minutes 55.4. West looking to consolidate second place.
Small side windows open to minimise fogging. Stage time 6:49.8.
Matt Jansen still not finding the ultimate pace in the forest and fourth so far. On board with Mason now, and look at the roads as we climb to the highest point of the rally. In fact, snow still on the roadsides after storms earlier in the month.
It's a risk-free approach from Mason. He clearly has a speed advantage in the rally, but he just wants to get to the end and get maximum points.
Well, using all the road and wins the stage 7.4 faster than West. And Richard Baddock continuing to put up great times, but just dropping back to 6th here. So Richard Mason leading the rally 34 seconds clear of Chris West. Ben Hunt 10 seconds back from that, and then Jansen, Kelsey and Baddock fighting hard for 4th place. So tyre choice is critical for these next stages.
Second half of the first stage after service will be an interesting thing. I don't know whether or not there'll be clay coming up or whether it'll just be that sort of muddy stuff on top, so it'll be definitely interesting.
It's been a good morning for Chris West, for a change.
Yeah, the car feels really good. It's we're just pressing on and making some small changes to it, but overall we're reasonably happy with the position.
A new set of tyres for Ben Hunt, but his gearbox has issues.
We can't get the gearbox into 5th gear, so we're just using 4th gear at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see what we lose on these next few stages because they're quite fast.
So do you think you're going to be stuck on the rev limiter a bit of the time?
Yeah, I'd say there'll be a lot of rev limiter happening in there. It's quite a lot. In the last pass through there, we're a 5th gear, 90% of the stage, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Matt Jansen looking to use some different tyres in the next stages.
Well, we've got some pretty narrow tyres to go out on now for this muddy section because it's going to be incredibly slippery, I'd imagine, in there. We might see clay coming through, and then we'll have to go back to second-hand tyres for this afternoon because of the tyre allowances.
Richard Baddock was as surprised as everyone with his fantastic form through the morning stages.
We're pretty surprised, we're pretty pleased. We Well, we're a bit blown away, really. I don't know. I'm just feeling really confident, and we've decided to run some Dunlops, which is we haven't done before. So they're gripping really well, and it's just giving me lots of confidence on the road, really. I don't know the surface being local, so it's just giving us that advantage, really.
Coming up on Rally Nation, we go to the heart of the New Zealand Classic Championship. It's appropriate that Canterbury should celebrate 40 years of rallying, as the core of the New Zealand Historic Championship is based here, and much of the preparation happens here at Palmside. It's a family business, with Dean Buist running the motorsport shop and brother Brent running the mechanical side, on the site that their dad built in the late 60s. The Europa gas station is long gone, but this is still the place to come if you love the cars of the 70s and 80s.
Well, we originally started as a service station, a workshop, and now we've sort of over the years developed into basically working on motorsport cars and selling motorsport parts. We don't do a lot of late model cars anymore. We used to, I mean, as our customers have gone to the older cars, it's what we look after. We don't work on too many Subarus or Evos, because our customers have sort of gone away from them a bit, I suppose. The spectators like them, and we like working on them, and we like to run what we sell. The way the points are, and with the separation, if the car's finished, then I mean Marcus has got a bit harder work than we've got to do. We're not. I mean, it'd be nice to win it, but we don't care if you get through to these guys.
So we started off running two-wheel drives. That's how what I learned rallying, and then we moved up, and eventually I bought an Evo 8 and thought we'd give this a shot. And while I did enjoy it, I missed the two-wheel drive, the sideways style, and the just a wee bit less pressure, especially when you're busy at work, and so it's really, that's where my heart lies with two-wheel drive rallying. So it's really.
Jeff Judd has competed in escorts and modern four-wheel drives. He's spent time as a WRC co-driver, but always finds himself returning to the RS 1800 Escort.
I've owned my Escort for nearly 20 years, and I've still got my Subaru as well, and I love driving that, but just the Escort's so easy to drive and a little bit cheaper than, say, running a four-wheel drive. But they're so much fun, and everyone loves the noise of the BDA, and you just can't beat screaming through a forest and in them. They're amazing.
Rally sponsor Tony Gosling is a recent convert to the BDA club.
It's good fun. It's hard work, because obviously I'm pretty competitive and I don't want to get him beat. But you talk around, and it's no secret in rallying that you got to do the mileage. So we're out there doing the mileage, and I guess we're doing an apprenticeship. And I think the speed will come. And the car first got used in Dunedin last year by Hayden, and got a good result. And it was a pretty fresh car. And since then I've just done Whangarei and Daybreaker, and just getting to grips with it. But this car here, we based it on the Allied polymer car from back in the day. It's a picture I had on my bedroom wall when I was a kid, so it was just obviously the natural choice, and being a POM, we kind of like the Escorts.
And Jeff Judd taking first blood in the rally on stage 1, 4.7 seconds over Van Klink.
Juddy's done well to get through there cleanly. The older cars don't like the Fords. They're not as waterproof as the newer model cars.
Van Klink had been concerned that the Mazda would lose time if it rained.
Let's just see if Klinky's listening to his co-driver this rally.
And he headed pre-event favourite Dean Buist, who was another 5.3 seconds back. Now, Buist had leased his car out for the weekend, so was using his brother's car, the ex-Mike Marshall RS 1800, one of the most historic cars which has been driven, with a pedigree going back to the 1980s. Event sponsor Tony Gosling off to a slower start in stage 1, 30 seconds behind the top 3.
Tony's making big strides with his rallying career. There's certainly a big improvement from the in-car we saw at previous rallies.
And just under 5 seconds back, Ron Davey, but this is a less powerful single cam Escort. On stage 2, Buist took a commanding lead in the class though, with 8th fastest time overall on the stage, 22 seconds faster than Van Klink. Van Klink was faster than Judd, but it was only 3.5 seconds at the stage end, so Judd still holding on to second in class. Over the next 2 short stages, Marcus Van Klink fought to regain that time, taking 3.9 seconds out of Buist on stage 2 and 3, 7 seconds on 4. But Buis, the 200 rally veteran, was still in front as they headed to service. Jeff Judd protecting his championship lead in third, but 16 seconds behind the Mazda. And a couple of interesting entries in the open two-wheel drive. Brian Stokes and his Escort Special complete with a 6-speed gearbox in 10th outright by stage 4. And Matt Jansen's brother Taylor in his veteran Datsun 1300 Coupe.
What a cool car, plenty of sideways action. Good to see another Jansen brother in the NZRC.
Stage 5 is a repeat of Stage 1 and the end of the rally for Alex Kelsey, passed here by Ben Hunt, who would now run first on the road for the rest of the rally. Conditions very wet from the rally traffic and the rain. Ben's time 14 minutes 05.8, about a second faster. Chris West here really attacking the water crossings and going to win the stage in 13 minutes 53.7. Matt Jansen took 5 seconds off his stage 1 time, but the road was really cutting up. Richard Mason again taking a conservative approach in the water crossing. Good idea until his stall.
Repeat, 1 left in junction.
That cost him the stage win, dropping 10 seconds to West.
And long, 3 right.
Big improvement second time through for Reese Gardner, 5th fastest and now 7th. Brian Green now just 2.2 seconds ahead in 6th now. Running down the order, Richard Baddock may have had better road conditions, but on his second run through, he's still fast, now back in 5th place. Stage 6, Mytech Welders, the repeat of Stage 2 using Mount Grey Road. A good crowd out to watch despite the weather. Ben Hunt first on the very fast road, but with no use of 5th gear. So will that cost him, Glenn?
That's not going to cost him time in the first part of the stage. It's quite a lot twistier. 2nd, 3rd and 4th gear is what he'll be using. He's also got to consider where he is on the rally. If he's having problems with 5th, he's not going to catch a 2 in front. He wants to get to the end, get the points, and through these fast sections, he'll have to just run the car to the limiter in 4th, and he is going to hemorrhage a bit of time.
Mind you, despite that run, Hunt is 5 seconds faster than the morning run, and Chris West 15 minutes 47 through stage 6. And that's a huge improvement over the morning run. 16 minutes 35 for Matt Jansen, so all the drivers improving on this.
Clearly there's some road position advantage.
Fastest time again would go to Richard Mason, and his lead over West would be 28 seconds. So now it could be the time for him to take care, be conservative, and preserve the lead.
He'll do that in the tight sections, but in the wide sections he'll really push on.
Richard Baddock had run out of tyres by this stage, but despite being 1 minute 26 slower here than Mason, he still held 5th. In the NZ2 class, Canterbury driver Josh Marsden was fighting to keep in touch with Phil Campbell, but lost 10 seconds on stage 5 and another 5 seconds on stage 6, despite grooving his tyres at service. Campbell had chosen not to cut tyres, and maybe this was the advantage as he pulled away from Marsden and took 9th overall by the end of stage 6. It's a big ask for David Holder to stay with the R2 Fiestas, but despite these conditions he was doing all he could. At the end of stage 6, the deficit to Marsden was 24 seconds.
The difference between taking a cut tyre and a non-cut tyre, the cut tyre is often going to give you more grip, but will tend to wear faster, and there is a limit on tyres.
Richard Mason 28 seconds ahead of West. Hunt is now a minute 4 back from Mason. Jansen's holding 4th and an impressive 5th for championship rookie Baddock.
Richard, you're leading. You got about 28 seconds over Westy. Are you cruising or are you pushing?
I wouldn't say that we're like out of our comfort zone, but we're not mucking around really, you know. I had a stall in the river at in the first one after the last service, and you know, we lost about 10 seconds there. So, and that's about what Westy took out of us. So, I don't know. Looking towards this afternoon, a couple of stages to do that are quite short, that are repeats, and then the power stage, which is obviously the important one for the afternoon. So, I don't know. Looking forward to having a good go.
Chris, you're currently second, about 28 seconds behind. Are you going to be able to bridge the gap to Richard Mason?
Bridge it any more than what it is? It's a golden question. We're certainly going to try. I mean, realistically, we need the points for the championship, so there's a bit of balancing in there, but I mean, the whole idea is to keep them honest and keep pressing on with what we've done in these last 2 stages.
The last 3K of that repeat stage after service was real slippery, and we just took it easy through there and made sure we got to the finish. It could have caught a few people out, and I don't think it has, but it paid to just take it nice and easy through there, and having no 5th gear for those 2 stages, I was kind of kicking myself, but you got to live with those things in rallying, and we're not losing too much time on Westie, so we'll just consolidate where we are and be happy with that.
You've got a bit of a deficit, a couple of minutes to Ben Hunt that's running 3rd. Are you going to try and attack that, or are you just going to settle for where you are now?
Yeah, well, we'll try. We'll give it a go on the next stage because we've only got sort of 60 kilometres of stages left to try and pull this off on. So we need to make sure that if we can do it, we'll see if we can get a big enough chunk in the first stage.
Josh, we hear it's a tight battle.
Yes, absolutely. It's really, really close, seesawing backwards and forwards. So just got to have a big push on this last loop and hopefully get ahead.
We see the boys checking the wheel alignment. Have you hit something?
It's quite rough out there with all the rain in there and all the second pass. A lot of rocks that get brought out, and you do get a few big hits, so just having a quick check to make sure everything's all right.
Are there any particular tricks, particular nasty bits you've got to watch out for on the stages you're expecting?
Yeah, the next one we're going to do after service, we've got a flat tyre, and the last time we went through it, there's lots of big sharp rocks around, so we're going to make sure we don't hit any of them this time.
Coming up after the break, the run to the finish and the chance for bonus points in the power stage. Stage 7 Brita Safety, the repeat of Stage 3. Richard Mason did this stage in 5 minutes 06.4 in the morning. So how much difference will there be on the afternoon run?
5 right and short, 5 left minus 100. 5 right plus 5 left minus, finish caution, the 50, 4 left plus.
Stage time 5 minutes 19 flat.
See that time, wasn't it?
Heaps slower than the first time.
I bet. Interesting thing will be whether the others were.
Well, in fact, Chris West closing the lead to 17.6 seconds with a time of 5 minutes 08.6. Stage 8 switched on property, the stage which had suffered the worst in recent snowstorms. So a few extra hazards, loose rocks and tree branches to contend with. Ben Hunt with a good margin over Matt Jansen by now, so could afford to be conservative and look after his gearbox.
He'll be mindful that that gearbox problem doesn't manifest itself into something worse which will stop the car.
But for Chris West, it's 2 stages to go and he's got a sniff of victory. It's pedal to the metal through the stage and its time is 6 minutes 39.8. 4th place looks like the best Matt Jansen could do today, so he was keeping things clean, making no mistakes. But behind him, the pressure was on as Richard Mason tried to get back that margin in this penultimate stage.
Certainly looks like he's trying, getting ready for the power stage, I suppose. The roads look in incredible condition considering how many rally cars have had passed through them throughout the day.
Repeat 3 right opens, room 120.
Mason won the stage, but the margin to West, 18.2 seconds. Richard Baddock still holding 5th, not looking like he was getting much traction from his tyres though.
Looking at his tyres at service, his best tyres were worse than the tyres that had come off other cars.
Brian Green and Reece Gardner having their battle for 6th place, Gardner finding some consistency in the later stages. Green lost 30 seconds to Gardner on stage 7, and that proved too hard to make up over the final stages. As if battling the conditions in a powerful rear-drive RX-7 wasn't challenge enough, Marcus van Klink's 25-year-old windscreen wipers decided to quit on him. And it proved tricky on stage 6, where he lost 90 seconds and was overtaken by Dean Buist on the stage.
Time long 4. 30.
That would drop Van Klink to 16th overall and may have dashed his championship hopes. Dean Buist had taken the lead in the classics on stage 2 and never looked back. In fact, by stage 8, he was up to 8th outright, just 33 seconds behind Green. Jeff Judd had struggled to find traction throughout the day, but second in class meant that he was on target to retain his lead with 2 rounds remaining. He has little experience at this level, but Tony Gosling holding his own in the class.
A small misgear there, but he's doing a great job at bridging the gap in experience between himself and the other competitors in this classic class.
And speaking of that, another solid result for Ron Davey with an underpowered Escort here. Just gathering points there. Hamish Anderson getting valuable experience in David Holder's old car, and Taylor Jansen steaming through in the little Datsun. So Richard Mason leads with West only 18.2 seconds back, Hunt further 47 back, and Jansen comfortable in 4th.
The final stage, Autotech Services, Stage 9, is the power stage.
Starting on the western boundary of Ashley Forest, it runs uphill until it joins Mount Grey Road, which becomes very wide and very fast. Finishing on the downhill section of Ashley Forest Rally Sprint, bravery will mean everything in this stage.
Well, no 5th gear, but no worries for Ben Hunt, who has really got the pace on down this super fast road. Remember, 5 points for the power stage winner at stake. And talk us through this, Glenn.
Well, this power stage is a great initiative. It puts a lot of emphasis on the last stage. And how cool is it to end the rally on the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint Road, downhill, super fast, flat out, extremely exciting, and a piece of road that everybody knows in rally sport in this country. Ben Hunt straight across the finish line. Let's see what his time is for the power stage bonus points.
7 minutes 07.5 is the time to beat.
We've had our fair share of dramas this morning with losing the 5th gear in the 2nd stage, and we unfortunately broke the gear lever off in the 2nd to last stage, so that was a bit of a drama. But yeah, I can understand why people love to come and do the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint, because seeing all those spectators down there and just keeping hard in it was awesome. I wish I had 5th gear.
So can Chris West pull back 18 seconds to take the lead? Probably not, but a power stage win and 5 bonus points would help his championship hopes.
When the points are tallied at the end of the year, 1 point can mean the difference between 1st and 2nd in the championship. So he's going for it, although his steering looks not 100% straight ahead there.
Yeah, I bent steering at the start, so it's got a bit of toe out there. Unfortunately, just hit a rock on the inside of it too right, so I think it's got about 10 mil toe out, so it was a wee bit uneasy coming down there for the last 10Ks.
Matt Jansen tried hard, and 7 minutes 05.8 puts him 2nd on the stage so far. But Richard Mason running last of the top drivers. Surely he can win the stage, which would give him a 4-point lead over Hayden Padden in the championship. With Padden returning for the next round, this is important.
This should be a formality. He's had the speed all day, but he's going to have to step it up to 100% now. Maybe a little bit less earlier in the day. He saved his best tyres. He's really going for it, using all the road and a bit more in places. Nothing but first will do in this stage.
Right and left. Keep right. 6 right. Tight plus tight. So a very long 5. Short 6.
I've got a bloody puncture.
Repeat 200. Short 7 left.
That can't be happening.
That's got to be the last thing he needs on this stretch.
6 right. 6 Ks to go.
He's not going to win the power stage, so he's already lost some points.
That could, I mean, but he's still going for it though.
It'll go down to the rim. He'll be running on the rim.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's the tyre out of balance that's just causing the car to vibrate.
But he doesn't appear to be backing off. That can't be good for the suspension.
No, but it's got to get to the end of the stage to get the points for the overall rally. He needs to minimise the loss. As you can see, the car's now running on the rim, and that's even going.
And he's just said they've got no brakes. This is devastating. Only a kilometre to go, and it looks like they're going to park it on the stage.
We can't, darling, we can't.
Okay.
At the very least, we're going to have a look.
I can't believe that. We've got 1k to go. I can't believe it.
Come on, let's have a look.
Meantime, Josh Marsden took out the power stage in the NZ2 class, but Phil Campbell was the class winner. Graham Featherston won Class 5 and takes an unbeatable points lead in NZ5, but Dean Buist heading for the win in the Classics. But there's still a big battle in the power stage. Buist running first on the road, so he set the target time of 7 minutes 36 seconds. Marcus Van Klink needs the bonus point. Oh, and that's Mason still stopped, so that looks terminal there. And Van Klink's time 7 minutes 36.3, so Buist holds on to the power stage lead.
Repeat, long 6 left minus, keep left.
So Jeff Judd then, can he do it?
It's all about the power stage points. He's having a go. That's Mason going again, so that's good for Mason, but it's held Juddy up a little bit. And here we go on to the downhill section of the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint course. Almost through to the finish line, lots of spectators. BDA escort and plenty of sideways.
This is looking good. 7 minutes 28.9, that's a fantastic time, and he takes the bonus. As does West in NZ1, Marsden in NZ2, Stokes in NZ3, Jeff Judd getting his in NZ4, Featherston in NZ5, and he wraps up the championship there. So Richard Mason out of the stage, but he still needs to get to the final service and to finish.
We've had a puncture on the last stage, and it's ended up breaking the wheel. We tried to drive on it, and it just disintegrated, so we had to stop, and then it was just a mess. So. Will you get back? I hope so. I haven't got any brakes, so we'll see how that goes.
His team waiting at service looks like they have the parts to keep the car running, but how much time is this going to take, and time penalties? It's all hands on deck when Richard arrives. At the finish, though, no mistake about the winner. For the first time in 2013, Chris West and Chris Cobham take victory. So Chris West confirmed from Ben Hunt and Matt Jansen. Fantastic fourth for Baddock. Dean Buist takes the classic lead, and Richard Mason did make the finish, but in 8th place after penalties.
A long time between drinks, but I mean, it's that's just the whole recognition of my team. It's huge amount of work, and you know, we're a new car this year, and it's just been getting better and better. And I mean, it's been a fight. Very unfortunate for Richard this last stage today, but at the end of the day, we're it's just nice to be competitive, and good result for Andrew Sims Mitsubishi.
And another top result for Ben Hunt despite gearbox woes.
And it was a big surprise to actually end up grabbing second, so couldn't really ask for much more considering we've been missing 5th gear for most of the day, so there was a bit of a challenge, and at times I was hoping that it did come back, but pleasant surprise to be in 2nd place.
And Matt Jansen, top Christchurch resident driver.
Sitting at the finish line of the last stage, we didn't think we'd done enough. Well, we knew we hadn't done enough to catch Ben, so unfortunately Richard's had his problems in there, but it's not over till the final control.
So to the leaderboard, and in Class 1, Ben Hunt with 89. That's just ahead of Padden on 88, and he's back for the next round. West's win gives him 77, and Mason slips to 4th with 66. In the NZ2 Championships, the Fiestas, Campbell leads with 132, Marston 121, and David Holder back, but in the older Fiesta has 58 points, but a great drive. In the Classics, Judd leads with 99 points, 9 points back, Buist has 90, and Marcus Van Klink has dropped to within reach of Tony Gosling. So celebrations now as we head to Auckland for the Possum Ball Memorial Rally in September. And we'll see you then.